Anyway, I want to say hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for our Monday Healing Step session here in the Bridge to Healing community. Now, if you're new here or watching for the first time, I'm Janine Naus, a grief and trauma relief specialist, and I bring my personal experience and professional training to support survivors of trauma in reconnecting with their inner peace, reclaiming their worth, and gently releasing what no longer serves them. So if you're watching the replay, type pound replay in the comments. And if you're watching me live, go ahead and type pound live. And I'd love to know where you're joining me from. So today's topic speaks to something many of us have carried silently for years, often praised by others, yet deeply exhausting to carry alone. What it means to be the strong one, the one who holds it all together, the one who doesn't break down, the one who keeps showing up no matter what they're carrying inside. And while strength is often seen as a badge of honor, today we're going to explore the hidden cost of constantly being strong and what healing becomes possible when you finally give yourself permission to set that burden down. And we're going to move through three core ideas today. So, first, we're going to look at what being the strong one really means. And then we're going to explore the hidden cost of carrying that identity. And then finally, I'll share a personal story, a gentle practice where you can use it anytime, and also a journaling prompt to help deepen your self-reflection. So let's begin by gently unpacking what this role actually looks and feels like beyond the surface and through the lens of survival. See, being the strong one isn't just about doing a lot, it's about suppressing a lot. It's a survival role that many trauma survivors learn to play without even realizing it. And you might have learned early on that there wasn't space for your emotions. Maybe you had to be the stable one when everything around you felt chaotic. Or perhaps you were praised for being independent, composed, and selfless. So much so that vulnerability uh, began to feel like weakness. And so you learned to swallow your feelings, to handle everything on your own, to make sure everyone else was okay, even when you weren't. And it may have felt like the only option, like love or safety depended on your ability to appear unfazed. So the truth is, this role isn't rooted in true strength, it's rooted in survival. In nervous systems wired for protection, in stories formed when you were too young to name what was happening. But just because it helped you survive doesn't mean it has to be your story forever. So let's pause here for a moment and do a little bit of reflection here. See, have you ever felt like you had to hold it all together, even when you were uh, breaking inside? Maybe no one ever asked how you were doing, or maybe you never gave yourself permission to fall apart. Now, if that resonates with you, go ahead and drop a yes in the comments or share a word that captures how that felt. You are not alone, and your feelings, your need for rest, for softness, for support, they are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you are human. Excuse me. So let's move through the cost of carrying this role for too long and why it matters so deeply to begin letting it go. Now, when we live in the role of the strong one for too long, we start to disappear from our own lives and we become experts at showing up for others, but forget how to show up for ourselves. And we carry everyone else's emotions, but disconnect from our own. And we smile through pain that no one ever sees because it feels safer than being seen as weak. But this comes out at a cost. Emotional burnout, feeling chronically unseen or misunderstood, struggling to ask for help, a deep, persistent exhaustion that no amount of sleep seems to fix. The cost is not just physical, it's emotional and spiritual. It quietly chips away at our sense of aliveness, joy, and interconnection. And perhaps the hardest part, very few people notice because you've trained them to believe you're always okay. You've carried that mask so convincingly that even you may forget that there's a person underneath it who is allowed to feel. But here's where your healing begins, not by abandoning your strength, but by redefining it. See, true strength includes softness. It includes being seen, being held, being human. So let's take a breath here together. I'd like for you to go ahead and inhale and then exhale slowly. Beautiful. Now let me share a personal story with you that helped me shift out of this role. See, for years, I believed that being strong meant being silent about my pain. I didn't let anyone see how much I was struggling because I feared it would make me less worthy, less respected, less loved. I overfunctioned. I held space for everyone else. I didn't cry in front of people. I kept going until my body said, no more. And what I didn't realize with it was that my strength had become a wall, a barrier to intimacy, to support, even to healing. And it wasn't until I sat with someone who said, you don't have to hold it all together here. That something cracked open in me. And in that moment, I realized strength isn't in holding back your tears, it's in letting yourself be seen. It's in asking for help. It's in allowing yourself to be carried, even just for a little while. That moment changed everything. It taught me that being strong doesn't mean doing it all alone. And now I want to offer that same space to you. So here's a simple grounding practice that you can use when you feel yourself slipping into the strong one, that role that we tend to try to do. And I'd like for you to go ahead and sit quietly and place your hand over your heart and take a deep breath in and then out. And then whisper to yourself, I don't have to carry it all. Name one emotion you're feeling right now and ask yourself, what would it look like to offer myself kindness in this moment? Now, it's okay if nothing comes up right away. The practice is the offering, not the performance. Each time you do this, you begin to loosen the grip of the old story, and you make space for your whole self to be held. Healing isn't about becoming someone else, it's actually about returning to who you were before you had to be strong. So, where in my life am I carrying the pressure to be strong? What might shift if I gave myself permission to rest, to feel, and to ask for help? Feel free to write this down or pause and reflect quietly. And if you're journaling now, I'll repeat it once more. Where in my life am I carrying the pressure to be strong? What might shift if I gave myself permission to rest, to feel, or to ask for help? Now let the words come without judgment. Just notice what rises. You don't have to hold it all together. Not here, not anymore. If today's session spoke to something deep within you and you're ready for support in laying down the weight, I invite you to join me for a free 30-minute healing clarity section. It's a heart-centered conversation where we'll explore what you're carrying, and I'll offer gentle guidance to help you reconnect with your inner strength. That kind that doesn't require you to suffer in silence. You deserve that space, and I'd be honored to hold it with you. I want to thank you for being here.